Hello, hello, and welcome to a little video about Target 3C. Alright, so let's remind ourselves of a very infamous equation, y equals mx plus b, because we're going to be using that a lot. Our m represents our slope, and recall that means rise over run. So that is a big callback. That's a callback to 2a. And then we have b. That's our y-intercept. And it's always written as 0, comma, whatever number b is. All right. So, number 1, let's practice writing equations for these lines because we're also going to be writing equations for inequalities graphed on an xy axis. We haven't done that before. We have only graphed inequalities on number lines. All right, so I'm starting off by writing y equals mx plus b. It has to fit that form because it's a straight line. The first thing I'm going to look at is the slope, so the m. All right, let's figure this out. We always go from left to right, so I'm going to start at this left point, and I'm going to count going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. Since I went up, it's positive 7 over 4. For b, that's our y-intercept, I look, where do we cross on the y-axis? Well, it happens at -7, so I'm going to write a -7. That's it. Now let's look at letter b. Same idea, we start off with y equals mx plus b, and we want to begin by looking at the slope. The slope is going to go from the left point to the right point. We're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to the right 5. Since we're going down 6, it's a -6 over 5. Next, let's find our y-intercept. It's right there. It's a +6, so +6. And that's it. Now, when we're graphing inequalities, that's a little different. It gets a little tricky. There's more stuff to it. So let's write down some steps. Step 1, we're going to do pretty much what we just did. We're going to find slope and y-intercept. And that's going to give us our, I guess, the pattern for our inequality, but there's going to be a little more to it. So step 2, if you see a solid line, you will have one of these two symbols. If you see a dotted line, you will have one of these two symbols. Our lines will be shaded up for these two symbols. And let me show you what that means. It's going to look like this. Maybe it's dotted and goes like this. It can also look like this and shaded up, or dotted and shaded up. Next, let's take a look at what if it's shaded down. Well, then we'll have one of these two symbols. Let me draw a little diagram. You might have a solid line like this, and it's shaded down. You might have a dotted line like that, and it's also shaded down. You might have a solid line like this. It could also be shaded down. Or a dotted line like that, which is also shaded down. All right, let's apply all those rules we just wrote down. So here in 2a, we need to begin with step 1, which is finding the y-intercept and the slope. So y, we have mx plus b. I'm not writing in equals because I don't really know what symbols should go there yet. All right, first, our slope. Oh, here we have 2 perfect points. Let's do this. We're going to go down 1. Oh, it's going by 3s. Ooh, okay. So we're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down 6. And to the right, 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Okay, now let's find the y-intercept. The y-intercept happens when we cross the y-axis, which is right there. So minus 6. Now we're not quite done because that was just step 1. Step 2, we will have a solid line. I misspoke. I meant, let's see, do we have a solid line or a dotted line? We have a solid line. So I know for sure it's going to be one of these. I need to decide which one. So I'm going to see where is it shaded. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw, I'm going to put a pencil on my line and I'm going to trace down or towards where it's shaded. Well, it's shaded downwards. So if it's shaded down, it's one of those less than symbols. So it's going to look like that. Let's try another one. Once again, we are starting with y and mx and b. We need to first find the slope and then the y-intercept. And then we can take a look at, is it dotted, is it solid, and which way we shade. All right, slope. Let's begin right here. And then we'll go down to here. All right, we're going to go down 1, 2, wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2 to the right. So negative 4 over 2. And then let's find our y-intercept. It crosses the y-axis right there. That's a positive 4. Whoops. Plus 4. Okay. Now it's a dotted line. So it's either going to be this symbol or that symbol, according to the steps. Let's see where it's shaded. I'm going to put my pencil on my line and I'm going to just draw an arrow where it's shaded. And that's right here. That's going up. That means we have a greater than symbol. Fantastic. Well, onwards we go. All right, letter C, same thing. Let's find our slope. Let's find our y-intercept. Slope. All right, so our slope is, let's find some points. Let's use this one. And let's use that one. Why not? Okay, so this is going by 2. So we have 2, 4. So we went up 4. And then to the right 2. All right, wonderful. Now let's find the y-intercept. The y-intercept happens right here. That's the y-axis, and that's negative 2. Fantastic. It's a solid line, so it's either going to be a greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, one of those two symbols. The shading is happening above the line, going upwards. So we're going to have a greater than or equal to. All right, letter D. Same thing, we need to find our slope and our y-intercept. Okay. So for our slope, let's use, I don't know, this point and this point. I'm going to assume this is going by ones. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So down 5, so that's negative 5 over 1, 2 over 2. Okay, so that's our slope. Wonderful. Now let's find our y-intercept. That looks like it's right there. And that is a negative 1 minus 1. This is a solid line, which means we're going to have one of these two symbols. Let's see. We have shading above the line. So, greater than. All right, let's do 2 more. And then I think that's, oh, actually, do I have 4 more? 4 more, and then we'll be good. Ah, I see. Okay, so these 2, well, actually these 4 are kind of funky. This is a straight line. So that's very bizarre. I'd like to remind you that lines, if they go up and down, they will be x equal lines. And if they're perfectly horizontal, they're y equals lines. So in number 3A, we have a line that's going up and down, so that's an x. And it looks like it's going through negative 2. Well, we can't really go up, down, but we can think about this as left and right. So let's draw our line. It looks like it's going to the right. So it's going to be greater than. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's either going to be a greater than or less than because it is a dotted line, no or equal to. All right, letter B. This is a horizontal line, so it's going to be a Y line. And it looks like it's going through a 3. This time we can draw up and down. It looks like we're shaded up, so Y is also greater than 3. All right, C and D ended up on this page for some reason. Okay, this is a vertical line, so it's an X. It's going through -1. It's a dotted line, so it's going to be one of these two symbols. It's going left. X is less than -1. Let's do one more. It's a vertical line, so that means it's an X. It's going through 3. Since it's dotted, it's going to be one of these two symbols. It's shaded to the right. X is greater than 3. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask myself or your teachers. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of whatever day it is for you. Bye!